Okay, and I will share the agenda as we start the session.
Okay.
Ed, lead the way.
All right. Call to order the January 13th, 2021 meeting of the Guilford Shellfish Commission to order. First item is public forum. Do we have any of the members of the public on? Wish to discuss anything? Okay. We will skip down to the minutes for the December 15th, 2020 meeting. Did people receive them? Were they able to review them?
I had two
Yes.
problems.
Okay.
The numbering, there's missing a 5 and there's 2 7s.
On the
meeting.
meeting.
Yeah, each section.
There's a section.
They're numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 7, 8, 9, 10 on the
Okay.
left side.
Okay.
Good catch.
That was the minutes, not the agenda.
That was the minutes.
Okay. I will send that note along. Do you let Judy know yet?
Also, the new 6D says it has an "and" instead of an "and."
And instead of and.
The old number 7D.
Okay. 7D.
Right. Well, that's the old numbering.
Okay.
Should be 6D.
All right. I made notes of those. Did you send those to Judy?
No, I just
All right. I think we can approve the minutes based on those changes and have her change them.
I propose we accept the minutes as amended.
Keith seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Now we will switch to commercial activity and licenses. I was a little late, but I sent Bob and Peter the commercial license update for that creates the invoices sheet this evening. I sent it to them.
Yeah.
And there's a number of licenses in the past year that have come up for renewal. And we have normally when it comes up for renewal, we have to put a public notice in the paper as I read the process, and there's a charge with that. And also, so basically what I would like to propose, and people can make a motion or whatever, is that we have to put the public notices in, that if the commercial harvesters agree that we just kind of auto renew the 5-year, but still do the public notice, and we actually waive that $30 this year, just because we're kind of late and whatnot with everything going on. I think there's about 6, it would be about, I think 6 or 7 notices. So it would be around $200 in notices that we would have to do, that we would pay for versus charging back to the commercial vendors.
Okay.
Does anybody?
I have no objection to that. I think that's
No
reasonable.
objection.
Okay.
No objection.
Hello, Judy.
Hi, sorry, I couldn't get on. Something was giving me a hard time.
No problem.
It's typical.
Yeah,
Hey,
We've been
it's bad tonight.
being recorded, but Keith did have a couple changes to the minutes.
okay,
We accepted those based on those changes,
Yeah, there were typographical errors.
okay,
or numbering kind of errors.
okay.
Uh,
So you will send that to me?
yes.
Okay,
So,
all right, thanks.
so back to commercial. If somebody wanted to maybe make a motion to waive the public notice fee and kind of auto roll if the commercial Harvesters wanted to continue for another 5-year lease with no price increases.
Motion that we allow the upcoming renewals of the commercial licenses to be done without any rollover fee and, just automatically renew.
Keith seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So I have that, and like I said, those hopefully in the next day or two, one afternoon, Peter and I, or Bob, Peter and I can discuss if they see any issues with the invoices, kind of typographical or anything, and send those out. Other commercial activity is Mike Bowen had told us that Jack Kramer, a young Guilford resident, had interest in obtaining a commercial lease. He called me yesterday afternoon, declaring he does have interest and would be probably a couple months. He'd be in contact with us for more specifics. But just wanted to put his name out there that he's interested in something moving forward. But kind of wants to get all of his ducks in a row before progressing any further.
Does he have visibility to the open plots that we have, or do we need to furnish any information?
I believe he has some visibility to that, to the state. I have to get actually in touch with him instead of just texting or voicemails back and forth, and either direct him to the lot or whatever, that kind of thing. So he kind of stated it'd be a month or two before he's really ready to start doing that further.
Fair enough.
Midterm exams and stuff at high school. So
Glad he finally did reach out to you though, Ed.
yes, he did.
Good.
That's all I have on commercial activity. I do know a number of commercial commercial harvesters across the state, or especially in the oyster industry, have fallen on very hard times. That's just kind of a general observation I've heard. I reached out to a couple of the vendors, just letting them know, or harvesters, that the invoices would be in the mail. And all the ones that we have seem to be holding on, maybe by a thread or two, but are still in business at this point.
Is that because sales are down or because,
No restaurants.
Right. So oysters, hold on. Sorry about that. I don't know where my phone went.
Okay. Only being recorded for the whole world.
Oh,
I don't think you're breathing heavily.
all right. I'm back. I fell under the couch during the call. So clams have actually seen an uptick in demand. Clams, quahog clams tend to be more versatile. You can make clam chowder, stuffed clams, clam casino. A lot easier to open. More people are able to. Oysters, the typical oyster connoisseur doesn't have an oyster
Excuse
knife.
me a second.
They eat them when they go out to restaurants. So they don't have a specialized knife or don't know how to open them. So that, on top of the restaurants and stuff closing, has really put I've heard numbers of 90-95% decrease over 2019 in sales.
Wow. 90%?
Over 90.
Jeez. No wonder.
The numbers of a typical January for one vendor might be 15,000 for December, or for January, and they have $196 so far in sales. So I mean, that's a huge decrease.
Yeah.
So
Hard to get $100.
yep, that's just kind of an informational thing on commercial activity. But
Alright.
what I've heard from our harvesters, they all seem able to hang on at this point. So let's move on to bills and correspondence.
So from a Bill's perspective for the month, I have Schweitzer for Trolley Road. I have 6 months of billing. I had held that because we had to clear up some billing issues we're having with Schweitzer, but it now seems like it's all resolved. So we have billing Schweitzer $318. That's for a 6-month period for Trolley Road. Nancy Matsiowski did entry $17.75. Judy Castellano for the month of November, $71 for secretarial services, and Judy for the month of December, secretarial services, $71. Bob Berger, a couple of sampling runs, total $64.96. Alan Brown, warden fees, $160. Total expenses payables for approval of $3,565.71.
I motion we accept the invoices. Keith?
O'Neill second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 That moves on. I don't have any correspondence to share. Has anybody else had correspondence with anybody or on anything? Okay, I'll take silence as a no.
I have not, no.
Okay. We'll go on to Warden's report.
It was a little busy a few days before Christmas. We had a pretty good run there for a while because the weather was really nice. And people were interested in getting oysters and clams for Christmas and stuff like that. So we were pretty busy there for about 3-4 days. As a rule, the weather has been bad earlier in the month, so it was quiet and then it was down. So it was virtually nothing going on, but we just had that one run towards the Christmas end there that we had a good run. And this month right now, we're getting warm weather and we're getting quite a few people coming out. But that's about it. It's kind of quiet in most cases, but if we get a nice day or it isn't windy, people are still coming out, and they all have new licenses too, by the way. I check every one of them, so everything is good.
Okay.
Very good.
I don't know if Greg was on and has anything to add or not.
I'm on, Ed. Over at Shell Beach has been pretty quiet,
Okay.
and I haven't made it over to the other areas, but anytime I go by at low tides, it's pretty quiet. I do need some licenses for 2021.
Greg,
Okay.
this is Peter. If you want to grab some, you can just let me know I have them.
Okay, yeah, I'll give you a call tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm around tomorrow, so we can find some time if you want to swing by. Of
Okay, great, thank you.
course.
Peter, I'm getting a text message from John Hall that he cannot get in. Are you seeing him trying to enter the meeting?
I have not seen him.
He says the message he says is that he's waiting for the meeting to begin is what the message is he's getting on his whatever laptop.
He must be dialing into the wrong meeting. I had sent an update.
Yeah, I sent him the link that I used to get here, so I just forwarded the email with the link that I used to get in. Is there only one person in per link or
Oh, no.
no? All right, well, he can't get in.
Okay.
I think we have to proceed without him.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we have any other wardens reports or any wardens issues, anything like that? Okay. I'll move on to subcommittees. Oops. Recreation. I don't have anything to report here.
Nothing here.
Nothing's come up, no issues that I've heard of, so.
Yeah, it's the hardcore season right now.
Right. We'll move down to water sampling. I'll defer to Bob on this.
Water sampling was done today. Actually, I was out in the fire department boat with delivery tomorrow. Samples look fine. The water actually looked beautifully clean and blue, green, whatever color. I don't anticipate any issues.
Okay.
Looked like a nice day to be out.
By January standards, it was a nice
Yeah.
day. Yeah.
On water sampling, Mike, I wanted to run something by you. If you could kind of maybe subcommittee that with Bob.
Yeah, I would, I'd love to do that, Ed. I was, wasn't available to do it today, but yeah, anytime that I'm available, I'm game to be there, for
Okay.
sure.
Yeah, and I spoke to Bob, maybe like asking you ahead of time, like what days are you available versus saying this is when we're doing, just kind of working more as a team on.
Right, Mike,
Or
I'll
part of it.
contact you separately and, we'll work out a schedule for when the next sampling stuff has got to come up and we'll figure out a time and day that we can do it.
Sure.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah,
thank-
if I know far enough in advance, Bob, that I can kind of schedule myself around it, I can do that.
Right.
Makes it a little difficult in the middle of the day, but I can, with enough notice, I can work around it.
Okay, good.
Thank you. Are we caught up on all of our samples, Bob?
Yeah, we sort of reset the clock with the new year. So as of January, yes, we are, we're caught up. We were deficient by one sample as of December, but then we got closed because of the rain right before Christmas, and we didn't reopen until last week or something like that. So we had like a 2-week closure and got reopened administratively. And so we are open as of this point, and these are open samples for the month of January, so that we should, be on target for the
Okay.
month.
All right, great. Anybody have anything else on water sampling?
How's the notification system working? Okay.
As far as with Sonia?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Dennis used to update the answering machine very promptly.
Okay.
And we've always used that as the go-to, even if signs lagged a little bit on getting changed sometimes, just because we're volunteers and it takes us more time
Right.
to get out there. I think this last opening, I had to send a reminder out that the machine wasn't changed kind of thing, but I also understand she's got a lot going on.
Right, she's new, got a pandemic.
Right.
Yeah. No, she's very busy. I was with her a little bit today and she was really busy.
The one you like.
So we'll definitely, I mean,
The printer.
like growing pains, if anything, I
Yeah.
would call it, but not even, we'll get it worked out better. And get
I noticed about 20 voicemails run that machine today.
Yes. That's something I want to try and look
Yeah,
into.
I was gonna say, do we,
I lost you, Bob.
like machine?
You're breaking up bad on my end, Bob.
You're breaking up, Bob. Breaking.
Not the whole thing.
You might try shutting off your video, Bob. You have a bandwidth issue.
All right. Bob's lost in cyberspace for a little bit, maybe.
He's frozen.
I will move back onto the boat. I don't have anything to report on it. I don't know if John does. John Hall. He never got on. So we'll move to stocking. There's nothing really to report there. I think our next event is usually in April when we do oysters.
Plug it in.
So,
Might be worth checking on oysters if we know that the market's depressed. Could we pre-order at a reduced rate and at the same time help some of our oystermen out?
yeah, that's something I was kind of thinking of also. And Sea Grant has thrown that out there. April's kind of we have a little bit of time just because April's when we have our own boat in, and I don't think we'd want to put dirty clams or dirty bags of oysters on the fireboat.
Yeah, I'm not sure they would be down with that.
Right.
No, they wouldn't like that at all.
I know they did seed clams one time, but those are clean. The oysters tend to have a lot of debris that falls off of them, and
Right, it's a mess.
central bilge pumps and stuff that I would not want to take a chance of clogging.
I'm more just teeing up the idea of pre-ordering and even potentially prepaying half of it or something. You know, we do have the funds, and there's a need with the oysterman. We may be able to get more oysters and return advance some of that to some of our suppliers in need. It's just a thought.
All right, I will.
It's a great idea, Peter.
I can reach out to some of the people who have the commercial leases for oysters.
Yeah.
And see if they have them, and then depending on that, we can expand even further.
Yeah, we obviously don't take delivery until April, but maybe there's something creative we could do earlier.
Okay, I agree with that.
Would it be possible to stock oysters in someplace other than Great Harbor?
Yeah, I think the biggest problem is the bottom, finding the correct bottom,
Okay.
because the silt really, we're having a bad issue. It seems like a bad issue with silt in a lot of our other harbors. And the oysters in particular being real prolific filter feeders tend to be more susceptible to drowning and getting clogged up with the silt. What I've heard.
Yeah,
Okay.
Indian Cove would be the only place that might be okay for them.
Right.
Kind of a mix of gravel and mud in there.
It's definitely put some in there, especially if we're getting more than we normally get and at a better price. I think it's worth taking a look at.
Yeah, and that may actually encourage people to spread out a little, so we take some of the pressure off of Great Harbor.
Yeah, I agree. All right, finance.
I have not received a statement from town for this meeting. However, I can report on licensed sales for the month.
Okay.
We do have $170 Guilford Shellfish Commission. This was Fred Hill, dropped off today, cash. 2 non-res senior, 1 senior and 1 res. Also then $90 from Fred, Guilford Shellfish Commission by check, 1 non-res, 1 res senior. And I picked up Captain Morgan, which is 2 months, as they don't, the month of December is slow, so they don't, they consolidated 2 months into January. The amount $2,796 by check, 27 non-res, 13 non-res senior, 1 res, 1 res, 2 res senior. So total amount is $3,056.
Okay. Peter, I received a call right before the meeting from Rick Greenleaf, who already,
okay.
he actually already paid his commercial invoice, and it's supposed to be in the mailbox at Town Hall South, the old police department. So that check's there. I don't know if we want to add that or wait.
Well, wait, it'll come in through the town, and what I'll need, maybe when we're doing our licensing reviews of the invoices, we can determine his amount, and I'll just report the amount, but it already have been in our accounts.
That is the amount. I looked at it.
Okay.
But we don't actually, it's kind of his word that it's in the mailbox, so I don't.
Yeah, we can we can do all that next month as we start to, get all that together.
And kind of as a note, I guess might be a good time on, as we're doing the finances, the finance person at the town hall sent an email asking us to be more prompt with invoices and delivering checks and cash for license sales. I understand 2020 was a tough year just with getting places and whatnot, but she did ask, we try and do it more of a monthly thing instead of lagging, because I think 1 or 2 checks lagged and they might have had problem depositing them into our account, or we had to go back to the purchaser and ask for a new check. They did ask, that we make sure checks are submitted, cash shouldn't be held on to for any great length of time, and any invoices we have, they'd like more timely, whether it be a mileage invoice or Warden's building up a couple months. Did I get the gist of that email, Peter?
I'm not sure I saw that email. That might be on me, but I don't remember it. But I can tell you at least from the time we report them in the meeting to the time I deliver what I report to the town, it's sometimes the same week. For a while, it took a couple of weeks, but it's never more than 2 weeks from the time of this meeting to the time I'm submitting things to the town. So it could be our whole supply chain that we all probably need to do a better job of submitting expenses on a more timely basis. And and then I'll do a better job of the time they're submitted to me and we report them in the meeting to get them over to town hall.
Okay.
I did have one check that interestingly, it was for annual residential license and it was written out. The dollar amount was $25, but the written amount was $20. So I had to call this guy today and ask if he would send another check because we couldn't cash that one. But
And that was the
clear
email chain I read.
Yeah.
In one of her emails, she kind of listed like, we had a check that was from July or something, and that's where she was asking to be more prompt, I thought. So
yeah, that's got to be from the time that the sale's made to the time it gets to me, and then we report it in the meeting.
Right. And like I said, I know it was certain vendors when we'd go there, they were closed and we couldn't get stuff.
Yeah.
I understand everything with the pandemic, so, but just passing along that correspondence from the town finance.
So I think it's a good reminder for all of us.
All right.
I might have missed it. Did you include the amount that I gave you to licenses?
Yeah, I did, Alan.
Okay.
Actually, yeah, that was you. That wasn't Fred Hill. That was my mistake. Alan had a total of $260, not Fred. Thank you, Alan.
All right. Can you share? I was going to see what was the next
Of course.
thing after finance. All right, special projects.
Okay, I have something to announce. If any of you are over 65 and you want to get scheduled for a COVID-19 vaccination, bring a card or piece of paper down to the health department or make attention to the health department. Have your name, address, phone number, and email address. And they'll put you on a schedule. They're starting to schedule people now for them. So if you want to get vaccinated, make sure your name gets down to town hall south.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
One thing I'll raise on special projects, because I'm not sure where I bring this up, but Alan brought to my attention that there are some new no parking signs at the end of Trolley Road at the cul-de-sac. And I called the Public Works, who was, a request came to them for a work order to place those signs from the police department, who has the authority to do so. I called the police department, talked to a couple people. I'm going to get a call back. I think it's from the deputy police commissioner to figure out the rationale. These signs are right on the beachfront at the cul-de-sac, to the left of the access into the marsh, which is an area that already is marked as no parking. So you can get emergency access through that area. So I don't know why there is no parking signs for that whole area of the cul-de-sac by the beach. It's not a lot of parking to begin with, so I'll stay on that and try to figure that out with the police department, why they made that request. And
the police department put those up, or does that coincide? Because I know there's a new state sign designated Great Harbor Wildlife Area or Salt Marsh.
No, the request from to the Public Works that put the sign up came from the police department, which has the authority to make the request. I just need to talk to the right people at the police department, figure out why they made the request and see if what our options are. Because I will explain to them that is parking that provides access to the shellfish beds.
Right. And there's actually state stuff, requirements and stuff in that, before you could take away access kind of thing.
Well, there is that sign for DEEP, which is the far end, the western part of the cul-de-sac. but it's really the direct southern part of the beach area
Right.
that they put the signs.
Okay.
Again,
I
I'll
was wondering-
kind of figure it out and see what our options are.
All right, thank you.
And thanks, Alan, for bringing that to our attention.
I'm going to assume that that was in response to a public request from that neighborhood over there because of the parking problems.
Let me find out.
Yeah, I would kind of wonder why we weren't ever questioned or notified about it.
It's okay. We'll figure it out. Maybe there's some good answer here.
Yeah.
And maybe we can make some corrections, but we'll find out.
Okay.
I would think that if you take a couple more parking spaces away, it's just gonna add to the problem. Because now these people are gonna start parking in front of homes and everything there, and it's just gonna compound into more complaints now.
Yeah,
Right.
and it's a very narrow road as it is.
Right.
There's no parking on the road. And I always make sure that I travel back and forth and make sure nobody parks on the road because I don't want to upset the neighbors. And especially if we have an emergency, you would not be able to get by with one of those fire trucks if somebody was parked on the road. And there is no parking on either side, so I stay on top of that.
Yep.
As far as the end, I'm waiting for you guys to get the answer on that. I just saw it and it disturbs me because you take away 4 parking spaces like what it's doing, and it's going to cause a real problem. The people especially the clammers are going to get upset. They have a 1 hour window, maybe 2 hour window. And we also get, as you know, other things in there like kayaking and stuff like that. Kayakers can come anytime they want, so they're there when we're in there clamming, and so we need to look at that.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually a larger issue for the town overall, because to your point being, it's a multi-use access area, not just
Exactly.
Shellfish.
Right, and
Exactly.
that's where there's some state requirements because you can't limit that access and stuff, I believe.
No,
That
that's
might be
right.
something to look at.
Yep.
Depends. We need to find out why and why the request was done and approved and all that first.
Yep.
Before we start assuming, I think.
Yep, agreed.
Okay. Different signs, but another topic, but different signs. Tony, I think we're on top of all the signs.
Yeah, we're currently open and everything's looking good.
And I hadn't heard from anybody that's chomping at the bit to take over that duty of yours come February 28th, when your term expires for the Shellfish Commission. I know you had graciously offered to, even if you weren't on the commission, to temporarily still handle doing it until we found a proper replacement for you. I don't know if that's still on the table or not, but I would be very gracious if it was while we find somebody to fully replace that duty for you. Is that correct?
It is, but now I'm just wondering if it would create some type of conflict as to like my mileage, and I don't know how that would work.
You would not have to be a commission member to submit expenses that are approved by the commission.
I think we've had other kind of things like non-commissioners that have put in mileage at different times. So I would agree with that here. But we can definitely talk and find out for sure ahead of time.
Okay, I'll talk to you.
Yep, let me just write that down. Okay. All right. We'll move on to website.
I have nothing to report. I have not, over the preceding several meetings, been live streaming to our Facebook page. We did that for a few meetings. It was fun, but I'm not sure we want to excite the public much more than that with our live stream. We do we do record and provide to the town, and we do we play on GCTV. What I do suggest is just as a reminder to all of us on the commission that anybody who wants to be contributing to the Facebook page, I can add them with admin privileges so they can post content to it. It doesn't just have to be speeds and feeds on Guilford Shellfish Commission. It could be interesting things that are seen on the web. So just tee that up if anybody's interested in doing some postings to our Facebook page.
Okay, thank you. All right, we'll move on to updates. Land Acquisition Commission.
There was no meeting this month, no report.
Okay. Hold on, let it come back up. Sea Grant Advisory Board.
I have not gotten any information from them.
Okay,
Yeah, nor have I.
okay. Harbor Management Commission.
Nothing, there was no meeting last time, so there was no report. But
Okay,
isn't there a Sea Grant meeting coming up, or the
Oh, for the
gathering?
clams, yeah, for clam shellfish commission, that's right, I forgot, it just slipped me. I think they're looking at February 13th was their, they're doing a virtual meeting.
is that like that meeting of the, meeting of the?
Yeah, of all shellfish commissioners, correct, yeah,
commission?
that's right, it's coming up in February.
February 13th, you said?
Yeah, I had 13 on one of them, they had it, it's the 16th on one and 13th on one. They're gonna give more information as it comes across.
Will they
Okay.
charge us for it?
I don't believe it's going to be virtual. I don't think they could charge you for it because not being any lunch involved. It's going to be just talking on the internet. They haven't put any details on it yet.
Okay. All right, yeah, if you guys get anything before the next meeting, if you could just share it
Okay.
with
Okay.
everybody.
Are we talking about the annual gathering of shellfish? or
Correct.
just-
Yes.
Okay. Did you receive an email? Has anyone received an email from Tessa about this?
I got one.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to search. I do not remember seeing one.
I have not.
I'll forward it out.
All right, thank you.
While we're on the topic of harbor management, Ed, perhaps
That was gonna be my next lead in. We have a protocol that we have a shellfish commissioner, be a member of Harbor Management Commission. And with Keith Harvey's term expiring February 28th, we're going to have to fill that liaison role. And Peter Charlin, having some history with moorings and ownership rentals of them, has graciously volunteered to be that liaison on the Harbor Management Commission. I personally support that. If other people do. I think
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, I think we definitely can move forward with getting him appointed to the Harbor Management Commission. Okay.
You might have to be a Republican, though.
I'm an independent, so let's start there.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, we do have to address, which we've raised previously, we have openings on Shellfish Commission based on a number of terms completing. We do want to ensure that those members that are eligible to renew, that we put forward for submission to extend their terms on the commission, but we're going to have I believe, 2 openings coming up after February.
Right, both Republican slots, right?
Well, currently, yes.
But there's also the thing, I think I'm filling a Democratic slot right now. I think there was a
Okay,
concession granted to me for that.
right. They made a dispensation for you.
It's been acknowledged by both parties that the commission members do need certain skills, like not just liking shellfish. You know, they tend to need to be able to be on the water, be boaters, have some basic hands-on experience and understanding. So I think minimally we're looking for qualified candidates. I'm sure there'll be a preference for Democrats, but it's qualified candidates that are Guilford residents.
And if anybody has any thoughts or suggestions, people we should reach out to, however we want to say it, very open to that.
Right, but Mike will be switched from an alternate to a regular position, correct?
Correct. And then I think it's Keith and Tony that will not be reappointed.
Okay, so
Yeah,
then we,
I have mine is expiring, but I applied for it through Republican Town Committee. I applied for another.
Okay, so that would leave us
one open spot.
one real seat and one alternate seat.
I think, yeah, but I think, right, we also have to have, Bob, is it you that's, your term expires, or is it John? I think it's you, Bob, right?
John
No,
said,
Mine expired. Mine expires. I applied for another for a second term. Yeah, I just put in an application for one. I haven't heard anything back yet. This received it, and that was all.
Okay, I can look at the listing that we have and get on that and contact back out to you, Peter,
Perfect.
and make sure we're on there. The less open seats we have, the better continuance we have moving forward if people drop off or on. So it'd be nice to get those filled with good candidates.
right, do we want to contact Don Kowalski again? Does he have an interest?
I believe he should. I can reach out to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe he's on, is it the Marina Commission now?
Oh, yeah, I didn't know that.
Also, so that would be a good liaison there.
Right,
So that's a good idea. All right. Oops, we got a little off track. Let's get back to the docks, moorings, and other potentially impacting projects.
No docs were submitted to the harbor
Okay.
management.
I've seen no new construction recently. Just people repairing sanitary systems. That's all.
Okay. All right. Old business, the Shellfish Management Plan. I had reached out via email and I was searching my email trying to see. I don't see that I received anything back from Board of Aquaculture. I'm going to follow up with them tonight to see where that stands. It would be nice to get that in place and all of that, and hopefully have positive things in that, like maybe a 1.5 or 2 inch threshold at other areas besides Shell Beach.
right, maybe I tomorrow samples.
Okay, yeah, if you do it, that would be great also, if they let you in the building.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna let me in. It's just a drop off at the door. I don't see them.
And I don't know if anybody besides the lab is even going into the office at this point.
Yeah, that may be true.
So that brings us to new business. Judy, can I add here just basically to keep a lookout and update anything on the no parking signs at Trolley Road?
Yes, this is, well, it's, yeah. I was
That
gonna
was
say-
discussed before. I was going to kind of do it here so that it becomes an item as old business or an updated item moving forward.
Old business, yes.
So I'll put it as new business that we're going to follow up with the police department on signage of no parking at Trolley Road. Finding out the history of the request, why it was approved, and explaining our viewpoints, if it's anything, if it's reasonable, and if we might be able to sway them any which way.
Agreed.
Okay.
We talk about it meeting about upgrading the message system at the town hall for the clam line.
No, you were kind of bringing that up.
Yeah, I was cutting out before, but I mean, we want
Yeah, so I'll put another new business item is to have a sit down or voice over call with the health department to find out if our analog answer machine is the best message device for getting our closure messages out there or open messages out there. And anyways, they might recommend to make sure it's timely and accurately updated. So I'll put that down as new business. And maybe.
yeah, I can talk about that. I can call whoever, Sonia, whoever it is, to see if they're, what we can do about maybe just putting in a new answering system or something.
Okay, and if anybody that has a advanced knowledge of technology knows of anything besides a analog push button answer machine, that might be a better option. Some sort of voiceover type thing.
Yeah, there, a text to
open to those
speech would be
suggestions.
ideal if we could sync it to the notice that's received on opening and closing.
Okay,
It could be automatic and it could also.
Yeah, they
feed
should,
up
they
on
they
the
should give, they
website.
should hook it into the main phone system for the town, because then that, somebody could change it at their, right at their desk at home. They could change it as soon as they get it. With the present system now, you can't change it. You can't change that analog thing from your
Right.
house.
and
Right.
since that's our go-to, that's the real 100%, open closure notice. We want to make sure we get that accurately and timely changed.
Yeah,
One
and
thing
there,
is
implement-
tied into, one thing that's tied into this would be, can we have all of our beds open and close at 2 inches, or do we still have to have the 1.5 inch? And
That's what we're waiting for on the shellfish management plan from the state.
yeah,
And that's all things that actuaries and accountants and statistical people figured out how many clean, dirty samples we have and over what length of time. And
yeah.
yes, fun stuff.
It'd be so easy if it was binary. They're open or they're closed.
Yes.
Yep.
Right.
So, okay. That's definitely a thing. So we'll have that as brought up as new business tonight. So we'll be able to carry that forward as an item to work with the health department on notifications.
okay. And like I said, I'll call her and see if she's open to the idea.
Okay, thank you. Any other new business? All right. With that silence, that means item 10.
I motion we adjourn. Keith.
Second.
Or a second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Yeah, take care.
Everybody.
Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.
Bye.